Where's the thing I'm looking for? There we go. Oh gosh, alright. It has been so long since I've played this. The thing you can get sometimes. Yeah, I like how it doesn't tell you what it is though. Well, try not to get a dumping syndrome. I'm trying to remember all the buttons. Okay. Good. Dash. Crystal dash. I make puns once in a very, very, very long while. I don't know if you guys really saw it when I did this or I did this off stream, but I got her. I saved her. I swear I learned like a different move. I did. Okay, I think it's, and then I got my double jump. I accidentally, I remember I did this off stream. I got the evil circus people, and I ignored that completely. Alright. Map. Okay, alright. I need to go over here. Oh my god, this is gonna take so long. Okay. Price is done, and your food from yesterday is so much better today. What was your food yesterday? Tomato chickpea curry. Ooh, that sounds kind of good. That's right, you can't die in this game. You'll lose all your money. Oh, that's right. I don't have a bank anymore. Actually. That's right. Sending Darkness, Shade Soul, I got Howling Wraiths. Wait, oh. Oh, I don't have any juice. That's right, I can wall jump. Rude. That's right, I have this. After you said yourself, you added lemon and zest to the pot because you were missing oomph, and now it's so good. Jesus, save. Yes, sometimes you just need to add a little acid, and it makes things just that good. Alright, ooh, let me look at my charms. My pride. Alright. This food talking is just... It's a heart shape? Alright, I accidentally found, Alright, I need to get better at this again. Okay. I found the Kingdom's Edge. I found the Kingdom's Edge and I didn't continue because I have to do this on stream. Like a good streamer. I did go up there and then go around in a circle, I think. No, I didn't do anything up here. I just went up here, I guess. Really? Okay. You bitch. What's there? Okay. Do I want a mechanic tip? Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Pew. Alright, that's Kingdoms, whatever. Yeah, I haven't played this game in like 3 or 4 months. It's been a while, so I'm trying to remember everything. Sometimes there are ghosts or spirits in the air and you can hit them with your dream nail. Yeah, and then they die. Like, that kills them. I know that. I'm not out to kill ghosts. That's just rude. Hey Vito, how you doing? Very poorly, but you survive. Why? Oh, this is pretty. My light's too bright. Be less bright. What do you do? Nothing. Oh. Nothing? Alright. No money from having to buy a new fridge and buying back some food that got spoiled. Oh god, I'm sorry. Also, you're sick and tired. You're not having a good week, are you? Well, I hope things get better for you. I'm sorry. Oh, I didn't mean to go back up here. This music's so pretty. Decided to die on Christmas Day. It was glorious. That sucks so much. I'm so sorry. It's a raining man. Hallelujah. It's raining men. I'm not ready for this yet. When did that happen? That happened when I beat Legend of Mana. Okay.
It doesn't show signs of stopping. And
Aw, Frizz!
Tea Earl Grey hot. The lights turn way down low. Make it so. Make it so. Make it so.
Well, I've been gone a while. Hello, friends.
Thank you for the, Oh yeah, you have a 12-month gift subscription to OJ. Well, thank you, OJ, and thank you for coming back, Frizz. How you doing? You had to buy ice packs for 4 days to save as much food as you could? Is that you had to put more strain on your back injury? So you're on inbox. Jesus, this doesn't sound like a good time at all. Yes, we killed the hot mommy of creation and watched some cute credits. That's very accurate. Well, anyway, welcome, shit, back. Oh, excuse me. Hey, buddy. This is a cozy hole. I've been venturing about the wilderness besides here and thought a moment's break was well called for. The landscape's all rather serene this side of the city. The inhabitants are as ferocious as ever. Yes. Yeah, no backseating. Shut up. I'll unlock Dirt Mouth when I feel like it. Oh, oops. Judging by this wall, the city's folk seemed hesitant to build further into these caverns. I wonder what kept them at bay. Yeah, we can kill the mosquito. Not the map mosquito. Alright. Cool. Okay, acid. My money. Fools. This is very chill. I like it. I'm waiting for something like intense and horrible to happen. Eventually. It's over here. I like the cherry blossoms? Feathers? Floating particles? It's over here. Okay, answers the question. Yes. Yes, I do know that's the first place you go. I do. Thank you. Stress Fest? I hope you're feeling better, Frizz. I hope you feel better. What is that? What are you? Hoppity hoppity. Is this snow? Three? Yeah. Oh. Okay. I can't just sit there and... Well, I can. And I will. Shed skin. Oh, I'm so tired. This game, the insect stuff is fine. I got used to it. After, the hell is that place called? Deep Nest. After Deep Nest, I've been a lot less creeped out about stuff in this game. You just remind me of, like, the jumping, Koopa Troopas in Super Mario World. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Deep Nest. Deep Nest definitely gave me the heebie-jeebies. So, yeah, after that, everything else is pretty much okay. Oh, a second. How dare you come back, bitch. Oh, you don't die? Cool. Yeah, but it's really creepy. Because they like pop out in the foreground and the background and like they're not even enemies half the time. You're like the creepy noises. It's just all of it's very creepy. It's very well done, but it's very creepy. I'm not the biggest fan of Deep Nest. Although I spent so much time there that I'm kind of used to it now, I still don't like it. Where am I? Oh. Oh, I want to get the bench. big. Shit. Ooh. This alarms me. I don't like it. Jesus Christ. Alright, cool. That was a big boy. They were big boys. Alright. Fight these guys. They make me uncomfortable. He's so much big boy. You can't get in there. I'm good. Can you come here so I can just touch you? Thank you. Perfect. It's like 5, 6, 7. All right. You just gotta get the pattern down. Jesus. Thank you. Don't let the game be cheesable, then devs. I don't... What? How many hours in the game am I? Apparently I'm late game. I've played like 40 hours of this game, but I've never played it before, and I'm wandering around, and it's an exploration game, so. I restarted a new game, and I'm like really almost caught up to where I am now, and it only was like 9 hours, so. Oh hey, it's one of these dudes. Brother Mato, in your lonely home at the top of the world, do you still think of me as an enemy? In the future, if you will listen, I will tell you why I chose to tread this path. Oh. Your first save was over 100 hours? Yeah, I'm just wandering around. I'm trying to find everything with no help, so... Huh. How did you find me? Down here where the world ends. Yes, I know why you're here. You came to learn a nail art from the legendary nail master, Oro. It is the law of the great nail sage that I must pass down my teaching to those who are worthy. But no law forbids me from exacting a payment for my time. If you truly wish to train under me, prove it with Geo. Sure. Okay. Dash slash. Hold Y. Hold Y to concentrate energy to nail. Release the button while dashing to perform a dash slash. Y and dash. I must say, you are an excellent pupil. Your skill with the nail and your thirst to become stronger. You remind me of my brothers. I have taught you all I can. Go back into the world, traveler, and leave me to my solitude.
Bam. Finner.
Boop boop. Okay. I don't think I did it right. Oh, whatever. I don't use this shit anyway. You all done?
Bam.
Okay.
Finner.
Thanks, buddy! Oh, hold on a second. Oh. Zoop. Go away. Hi, Steal Man. How you doing? Well, alright, this is this. Spinny. Doesn't matter if I hit down right now. Okay. Cool. Cold to, about to be snowed on. Oh my god, it's so cold today. And it's gonna be super cold tomorrow. I am not a fan of it. Well, that looks safe. Oh! Stronger brothers. Okay. It's already started to warm up. Oh, hello. I'll use you in a second. Oh. This music's so pretty. That's it? Oh. I hear the baby. I hear a baby. You guys stop like appearing out of nowhere. It's very annoying. Poop. With this? Oh, that's not the right one. Ah! Yeah, I don't care about those. Okay. In finding everything out, you guys are terrible. I don't want to play this anymore. Oh, I don't want to be here. Oh, those are spikies. Okay. Oh, I died from the spikes. Look. Buddy, you gotta leave me alone. I got shit to do. Oh, fucking spikes. Everyone's spiking. Okay. Come on. Hey, come at me, bro. Jesus. If you mash, you spin for longer. If I mash, why? What? Oh. Cool. I don't want to fight this dude. Hold on. Oh no. Okay, I'm going this way for a hot minute. We'll go back there when I'm ready. We're good. Baby! This is what I was looking for. Oh my gosh. Please don't be scary. Yes. Come here. I need your life juice. Thank you. You too, come here. Alright. What? I need more life juice. I don't know what else to call it. Yes, secret tunnel. If it makes a little like gong noise, it's like bow wow. I found secret. Secrets and money. Poop! I don't have enough juice. Crap. Alright, come here. Alright. Do I have to... wait. No. Okay. No, the music stopped. I'm going back up. Oh boy. Ha! 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 Ho! Ho! He! He! Ho! Wa! You. Okay, cool. I found the secret. It is a you quote. Okay. Eee. That's because of this? Okay. This makes me nervous. Butts to you too. You have made 100 attempts in the last hour. I feel like that's enough attempts for now. You need to take a break. Scary. Oh, I was looking definitely not at the screen. Come on. What am I attempting? Oh, what's OJ attempting? That is a good question. Okay, now we're getting to like weird scary areas, and I was going for a nice relaxed time in Hollow Knight, you know? Okay. I've got a lot of money, and I don't have a bank anymore. There are no bombs in this game, unfortunately. I can do like down sortie jumps. Okay. So much money. I can't. Oh, wait. Okay, okay. The silence is unnerving, and I'm waiting for something terrible to happen. Maybe nothing bad will happen. It was all for money? I guess so. Imagine you're singing? Okay, I will. Have you tried the run and triple jump double flip handstand? That doesn't make you can't. How do you do this and land in a handstand? Because that sounds very difficult. No, I have my plan is simple. Run, jump, slice. That's what I do. Occasionally, I accidentally throw my angry spirit at people. But if I do it, it's probably not on purpose. Well, that was something. Oh, and dash. Sometimes I dash. Soup. Yes, and looting. Yes. No, I can't. I was a pretty good gymnast. We never actually had to land anything in a handstand. Yeah, see, like that. That wasn't on purpose. I just pressed the wrong trigger button. Alright, come here, buddy. I gotta do this shit. Yeah, did you land things in the handstand? That was some spelunking. It's all about breaking into people's houses and killing them, but it's okay, you're the hero. Well, to be fair, everyone in this, like, all this area except at the top, Dirtmouth, everyone down here is insane and dead, or dead and insane. Literally, it's like a ruined kingdom, so it doesn't really matter. Did I like despawn the big boy? Did he kill himself on the spikes? Oh my gosh. Shit. My toes. Damn it. Good. I need all the help I can get. It's been a long time. Come here. Fight me. Hold on. Okay, just checking. It's okay, I'm the hero? Yeah, but I know the joke you're making, I totally agree. But to be fair, everybody's like dead and or mind controlled and like evil. So it's okay, they can die. The people that are good, I save and then they go up to Dirtmouth and, you know, do their thing, chill out. What are these? Bees! Are these evil bees? The cutest evil bees I've ever seen. Come here. Come on. Alright, over here then. Come and get me. Here we go. Hiveling, smallest of the hive's inhabitants, carries out simple tasks. Great Hopper leaps around the edge of the world, trying to crush prey beneath its body. Hopper leaps at prey and uses its sharp proboscis to drain vital fluids. Primal aspid, wilder ancestral form of the aspid. Once thought extinct, they have reappeared at the edges of the world. Okay. Myla's a kind soul? I couldn't save her. I looked it up. I actually looked that up, and they're like, no, you can't save her. I was like, okay. I killed her and I felt terrible. Well, if we're talking about the same person, I don't actually remember her name. Ow. There you go. Is she the one that was in the mines? Let's go in here. Quick slash. I don't know which one that was. Born from imperfect, discarded nails that if used together, the nails still long to be wielded, allows the bear to slash more rapidly with their nail. Oh, thanks. That's my okay, yeah. Yes, I checked. No, they said you can't save her. Anyway, I came back and she attacked me, so I killed her. And then she screamed and I was like, oh. Oops. And I googled, can you save the miner girl? And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, okay. Where is this bee noise coming from? Have I missed a bee? I see no more bees. Meaning you'll never interact with her, she never dies. Well, she's already lost her mind, so... Unless you feel like giving me spoilers, which is the whole point of not to. She's lost anyway. Anyway, she attacked me. Don't attack me. I attack back. You attack, you die. Yes, very simple. I didn't want to attack her. But, she lost her goddamn mind, so them's the rules. No, just because she's not there doesn't mean it didn't happen. Stop, don't touch me. Hold on, I'm trying to get this down. Oh, I'm going to the bench. Leave me alone, big boys. I don't like it. Go away. There we go. Map updated. Let's look at my map. We went in a circle. Okay. City tiers, city tiers. Boop, boop. Coliseum of Fools. Sounds annoying. Okay. Yes, I have a lot of money. I have a lot of money. Come here, buddy. Oh, you shithead. Come here, I want to be cheap and just slice you like this some more. Come here. Oh, too many. I don't want to do it. Get the blah 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 blah. Come here. Alright, I'm back. Fight me! Yes, we're gonna sit here for a minute. No, no hints. Just let me play the damn game. Leave suffer and do it wrong. I don't like them. They make me nervous. God. I didn't mean to go in there. Fuck. Damn it. Alright, screw you guys. I'm out. clips aren't working again? Are they borked? You want someone to step on you like that? You beat the game by killing bad guy and doing things. Yes, that is true. Everyone wants to help, which, like, cool, I appreciate it. Except I don't appreciate it at all. Just let me be bad at the game and suffer. Whee! Alright. So now I'm gonna go this way. No. No. You hit the button, it goes to a blank page? What is Twitch doing? I know they updated something to do with panels, so they might have borked something else. Try not to die. I try not to die because, and literally only because it costs me money. Otherwise, I don't care. The game's like, oh, if you die, you're gonna lose your money. And then you gotta get it, and then if you die again, you lose your money completely. And I'm like, excuse me, how rude. If you like the game, there's a multiplayer mod if you want to get up to shenanigans later. No, I would never play this game with anyone but myself. I would immediately get mad. I'm already mad. Because I'm not good at this game, and I don't like doing stuff I'm not good at. It gets me angry. It's a personal fault of mine. Don't worry about it. Twitch's code is being held together by digital equivalents of duct tape and band-aids. Yes. Yeah, pretty much. Alright, so I know I need to get something to go through that later. See, I don't mind the little ones. They're less threatening. Because this really reminds me of Super Mario. Except I'm not hopping on them, I'm attacking them, you know? The Koopa Troopas are just like with the wings and they jump at you. There's also PvP versions of the multiplayer mod and they look nuts. Dear God. You gonna land on my head? Okay. Wah-ha-hoo-hoo, yeah, fuck! Damn it! Like, how dare a game make me put effort into being good at it? Rude. I actually love this game so much. I really love this game. So far, it's beautiful. Welcome, Nico. How you doing? Or Nico. And the music's so nice. Like, I'm so stressed out, but I'm also, like, really relaxed. It's pretty. Melancholy. I don't know. I really appreciate this game. Very much. Trying to find time to sleep, but not getting there? Are you also stressed and relaxed like I am? Silk Song might be coming out in February? I don't believe that. Well, I hope you can get some sleep. Ooh. I got you, boo-boo. Don't be evil. I love it! Yay! Oh, I forgot there's spikes. I got so excited. Relaxed. Yes, that's the correct word. I don't like the evil ones. I've been using the D-pad for this game the entire time, and now I've switched to the analog, and I don't know which one I like more. Sucker. hacked NVIDIA servers for the GeForce thing, and there was a date for Silk Song in February. I would think that if that was the case, they would say something. People are really excited about it. You know? Oh, you hurt my toesies. Hey. Hey. Oh, okay, never mind. But hey. This ash trapped. Oh, is this ash? Wanderer's Journal. Oh ha! Hey! It's exciting! I don't know, I like this game because I get to wander and I don't know if I'm doing anything right and it doesn't really matter and I just attack stuff and I get nice music. Yes, this is the first playthrough for me. It has been stretched over like a year. I haven't... I last played this a few months ago and then life got in the way. Okay. That's pretty though. Map? Map. Oh, I connect those. Go that way. Every time you need to progress the game has multiple paths. You said progress. Alright, so we'll go this way and see what happens. Yeah, reward you for getting lost. Yeah, I never feel like I've been somewhere I really shouldn't be. My girl, how you doing? Do we have to fight again? Fine, let's fight. Fight. I'm not in the mindset to do fighting. God damn it, I'm gonna die. Okay, let's go. Hi. So you'd pursue the deeper truth. It isn't one the weak could bear. Prove yourself ready to face it. I'll not hold back. My needle is lethal, and I'd feel no sadness in a weakling's demise. Show me you can accept this kingdom's past and claim responsibility for its future. Oh shit. I don't remember. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I remember all your stuff. Yeah, yeah. Adino, Nagao, okay. Okay, alright. Okay, sorry. I was thinking about stuff. Yeah! She's touching me! Damn it! I don't have time for this. Alright, stop being stupid. I'm gonna die because I just... Keep touching her! Yep. You stay right there. I gotta heal up real quick. I gotta touch you again. I really like touching you. I'm so sorry. I don't mean to. What the? Oh, cool. No, I'm gonna touch those two and I'm gonna die. Yeah, I knew it was good. Ah, I keep touching things. Alright. Give me back my money. Alright. I gotta edit the quote. I gotta edit this quotes later. Alright. My lady, you have my money and I need that. Excuse me. Oh. Oh, sorry. Hi, Normal. How you doing? Thank you for following Hedge. Hedge Dog. Welcome. Come here. Meow, meow. It's better. Okay. I'm here and I'm gonna touch you less and I'm gonna try not to freak out. Can we name our shade Bubba? If you want, yeah, our shade can be called Bubba. You just learned some tricks in Photoshop, which will save you a lot of time, so you're happy? Good. I'm doing alright. Photoshop tricks are the best. Okay, my lady. Shut. What? Oh, she keeps touching me. See, I don't mean to. Oh, you weren't supposed to touch me that way. Oh, shit. Alright. That's okay. We're okay. We're just gonna die faster and then, I keep touching you. I'm so sorry. Stay right there. Thanks. Okay. Oh, you skank! I forgot about your stupid little twisty shit. Don't touch me! Ah! I'm sorry. This is gonna take a while. Get comfortable. I'm sweating. I'm turning off my blanket. You had been trying to move an image, resize it, and was trying to copy it. You've now discovered it. Transform. Ah, yes. Don't worry. I am not very good with Photoshop either. I know what I need to know, and that's about it. The rest I Google. Or I do in some, like, ridiculously ass-backwards way. You can feel my stress. Yes, I get... Oh no, Bubba. Forgot about you. Yo. Don't... There we go. Alright. This game's a lesson in being calm, and I don't have that. I immediately, internally freak out. Calm. Okay, so I gotta like... Alright, don't do that either. Woo! Bitch! Yo, girl, I was doing stuff. Alright. Ah! This is when you do your stupid thing, okay. Why don't they hurt you, huh? 1, 2. Shit. Ha! I got it off! Yeah! Yeah! Stop jumping into me! You know I have a problem with this, lady! Fuck you! The key is to make noises when you hit thing. I didn't want to start a boss battle. Oh well. I'm so calm, like a stream in a tranquil garden. I am very calm. It's alright. This is an easy battle, I just can't do it. Don't worry. Just means I need to play the rest of the game off stream, where I can take forever and not judge myself. Wee-hee! Alright. Alright, jump for that. Don't get so close. Oh, shit. Your head's too big. This is what the problem is. Okay. I'm gonna keep touching you because I like doing that. Yup. Alright, this one's totally messed up. Blah. We'll try to do what? No, this fight, she's got a simple pattern. I just need to, like, not be stupid. That's all. Alright. Luckily, it's, like, right here. Oh, I touched my soul. Come here, soul. You're back. Welcome back, Nerdy Mouse. Welcome to me struggling. Alright. Alright. Oh, I thought you were gonna jump at me. Like that. Yes. jump, you stupid shithead. See, this one I can't tell if she's going to jump at me. Screw it. If she's going to jump at me, or if she's going to do her little crazy whippy thing. You had a nice shower? I want to take a bath. Yes, of course I can do it again. I just need to figure out the subtle tales of whippy and diagonal jumpy. Alright. That's... yep. Okay, that's just her thingy. Okay. I mean, I guess she does scream beforehand. Bitch. Okay, I thought you were gonna do the other thing. Yeah, that's what I thought you were gonna do. Can I, you know, I should find that out. You skink. Oh. Ah, touch my toesies. Stop fucking landing on me. Oh my god. All right. Come on. Let's go. Is you heard a squeaky toy? Do you have a wayward compass you could trade it for some? Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. Bitch. Oh. I'm keeping my health. face. God damn. Don't touch my toes. Shit! Eventually. Who's the younger in this relationship? What, between me and Hornet? I don't know. I don't know if age is a thing. I will do this eventually. Alright. Come on, Bubba. Like a cougar? I don't think she's a cougar. She's just taller. Alright. At least the music's nice. Oh, wait, just... Oh, stop touching me. Squeeze them in there. Damn it. Stop touching me. Okay, I can't squeeze it in there. No, no. I counted, so I know I can do this. Alright. Woo! Shit. I'm gonna die again, fuck. No, I'm pressing fucking sideways, you piece of shit. I was pressing left. Sorry. That's okay. I was pressing left and I kept doing all the other shit. Alright, that's fine. That's okay. We're getting there. I started counting my hits. Everyone's taller than Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight's a wee little bug. That was the D-pad. Maybe I need to... No, I like the D-pad though. I don't know. Yeah, kinda... I don't know. She's not a cougar. I can't believe you think she's a cougar. Alright, come on. Let's do this. This is like a comfy blankie now. A comfy blankie that kills me. head's too big. Your head is still too big. I always try for the third one, and I shouldn't. Oh my god, I'm being so bad in this one. Alright, just kill me. My nose is itchy. Oh! Alright. Yeah, look at me, I'm making spikes. You want more spikes? Yeah, I'm freaking... I'm Hornet, man. I make spikes, man. Sorry. Could this one succeed? No. No, this one cannot. I'm sorry. So strong. You could do it if you had the will. I don't. But could you raise your nail once knowing its tragic conception? And knowing yourself? Then do it, Ghost of Hollow Nest. Head onward. Burn that mark upon your shell and claim yourself as king. My girlfriend's really mean. Are you guys yelling about cougars? Okay, you guys talk about cougars. I'm gonna go over here. Hello. Oh. I don't want to go here. This looks scary. Anything I missed? Cast off shell. Alright. I'm losing circulation to my leg. Ooh. Oh, that's the king symbol. Marked by King's brand, Hollow Nest shall recognize a new ruler. The kingdom's gates will open. Oh. 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 Sorry, I thought something was happening. I thought there was just like a cutscene. This is alarming. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Where am I? Oh, I'm back here. King lady was just wandering around minding my own business when you and these monsters started. Oh, hey, what's that thing? Yep, I got a mark. Well, thank you. I'm not good at this game, but I enjoy it, even if I'm bad. As I've said many times when I was playing this, like, I never play games where I have to memorize like patterns and think about what I'm doing. I just like to go in and smash and just like attack and press all the buttons. So this is very, very out of my element. Also, I play RPGs, so that's different. Cast off a shell. Alright, so I haven't gone that way or that way. But I'm learning. Old dogs can learn new tricks. Sometimes. That's what I thought in video games. Violence is always the answer. You're either violent or you're stealing everything. Those are my answers. But this game's like, you have no patterns. Pay attention to what you're doing. And I'm like, what do you mean pay attention? As I jump into like just everything. Alright, let's go this way. Connector stuff. But again, I like it. I'm not complaining. Oh my gosh, you guys just need to calm down. We're trying to be yes, we're trying to be cozy today. Ooh, acid. Okay. I really like the music in this area. Look at this weird cat bug. I'm trying to think. The charms I have on me: Mark of Pride, increases my range. This makes it so I don't move. This is so I know where I am, so I don't ever have to pick up money. So I get more soul. Remember I had to fight one boss and I had to switch, and I switched to like something ridiculous, like I think I used this and then like the freaking dream shield. I felt so dirty. So ever since then I'm like, no, I'm not switching my relics, damn it. Hey, how are you, Marsh? What's up? Oh, this is a whole different area. Okay. I feel bad killing this bug. Oh, what boss was it? Nox? I have played some of this stuff off stream, like I'll wander around in places I've already been on stream and try to find secrets. Because I find that really relaxing. And I accidentally went to Deep Nest and like I just crystal dashed across an area because I was like, I wonder what's here. And I found like the secret boss. And he was kicking my ass. I think it was him where I switched stuff around and I was like, screw it. I've tried this like 10 times. Yeah, I have to have the compass. I don't know where I am at all. Yeah, I try not to constantly look at the map, but I am going to constantly always look at the map. I can't help it. What's his name, Nox? I don't know. He was the creepy one that looked. It was like you. You know, you were following the double of you. Anyway, he was rough. Yeah, that one I did off stream. I didn't mean to, but it, Nosk. There we go. Sorry. I knew it was something like Nosk, yes. I was just, like I said, I was exploring off stream, and I got there, and, like, I couldn't retrieve my body and my money without getting into the boss battle. Like, I was stuck in there, and I was like, well, we're doing this now, so. You're too low to do this, right? Yeah. I'm tickling his butt. Woohoo! Hello! Ooh, yeah. Sorry, buddy. I had to spank your booty. Ooh. I am a bug of many services. Anyway, sorry. Okay. We're having a great time. This game's so charming. And intensely frustrating, because I know I can do better than I'm doing, and then I'm just like, oh, it's so rough. Will you stop doing that, mister? I don't appreciate it. Where's the dominatrix clip? Where's the dominatrix clip? A lot of clips have been deleted off of Twitch. Because DMCA and all that stuff. You know, sure. DMCA. Okay, I've been here. Hey. Sorry. Oh, but I haven't been up there. Alright, hold on. We'll go back there in a minute. There's a clip of me saying I'm not a dominatrix, I could be, but I'm not. I remember saying that, actually. I mean, I could be. I'm a little old now, but I still could, like, there's still a niche for an older, non-well-endowed dominatrix, okay? There's a niche for everything. I could fill it. There'd be like 3 people, but I could do it. Wanna know how desperate people are for Silk Song? Sure. It matters to me. The only issue I have with this background song is it has a little gong noise every once in a while, so sometimes I'm thinking I'm finding like tons of secret stuff and there's nothing there. Is that beeping in here or in there? Yes, 3 people at once. You got me. Sorry, I'm hearing like a lot of noises. People have started trying to translate the text and language of Hollow Knight into real language. Did you hear the beeping? That's not from the game, right? It was like beep, beep, beep. What the hell's beeping? Alright, sorry. I just, That was from outside. I heard it once before. Wait, that is from the beep beep. That's from the game? Is that really? Cause I'm almost like, is a fire alarm going off? Like what? Hello? It happened to you? Okay. That makes me feel better. Cause I'm starting to get like a little alarmed where I'm like, is something like going off over here? Should I be concerned? Something almost on fire? Okay, thank you. Alright, let's get some blue juice. Give me your blue nubs. Aww. Thank you. I didn't know for the longest time that if you get your blue juice and then you sit on a bench and you lose it, I never noticed it until like last time I played and I was like, oh, god damn it. Yeah, truck and reverse type. Okay, well, whatever. As long as I know, I'm fine. See? You just power through. Slash and attack until everything dies. Wait, I don't need to do that. I have blue juice. Okay. Now, lots of going up. So I want to make Hollow Knight art at some point. How dare you just appear? Leave my blue juice alone. And I have LEDs that I can assign to a plug, so I can make something that can light up and be plugged in forever, so I can actually make a real working light source. I want to do something Hollow Knight inspired. I think that'd be fun. You know what I mean? Because Hollow Knight's all like ambient glowing. So I figured that'd be kind of cool. Oh, it's the bug butt. Okay, hold on. Oh, sorry. Are you evil? Okay. One prefers its mind not be prying. Is rather unsettling, rather invasive. How do you know? Tiny thing, you climb high. Seek the knowledge of these lands. This ashen place is grave of worm. Once told, it came to die. But what is death for that ancient being? More transformation, methinks. This failed kingdom is product of the being spawned from that event. What are you? Is it you bothering about my tale? Rest is somewhat disturbed, but I find that station not unpleasant. Or. I spanked your booty. Tiny thing? Oh, The mark of worm you bear? Is it change you seek, or to save this ruin? That choice is yours. Always the smallest creatures that attempts the largest things. Oh, more. This falling ashes molt, the worm's corpse decaying, endless, serene, sad. This is molt? With its like gone, the world is smaller. Okay. Oh boy, he's got a lot to say. Hi, Bizarre M, how you doing? Don't mistake. I am not a worm. Too small I am. Too many limbs. No foresight like those old things. For quiet retreat did I climb up here, away from spitting creatures. Yes, high up. Away from simple minds, lost to light. Theirs is a different kind of unity, rejection of the worm's attempt at order. I resist the light's allure, union it may offer, but also a mind bereft of thought. To instinct alone a bug is reduced. Be on your way then. Its rest I'll return to, though in these times of sleep oft proves uneasy. Thank you for following aphoristic ways. Thank you. Alright, big squishy bug friend. Oh, I don't mean to keep talking to you, sorry. Alright, buddy. Have a good day. How does this booty... I guess he's really wormy. He's a... That's Bardoon? Hold on. Hey, Favorite, how you doing? This game is fantastic. I really like this game. I look at... You can't see what I'm pointing to. I look at the words. I never look in the corner to see the name. Ever. Alright, his name's Bardoon. You get a new job soon? Should pay more? Perfect. Nice. Congrats. That's really, really good. I'm happy for you. Nice. And Favorite Call, yes, this game's really good. It's frustratingly tough sometimes. If you're not the type that, if you're like me and I'm just smash and go, you actually have to pay attention to what you're doing. But that's okay. It's a good challenge. And the music's beautiful, and like, you can just wander around and do whatever you like, more or less. There's like... It's just a really good game. I really enjoy it. Very much recommend it. Same? Yeah, right? Like, but I'm also voice acting, so, you know. So this floating debris is the corpse of the worm, which was the king, because I read spoilers. Because I was like, some jackass is gonna come here and spoil this game for me. So I read all the spoilers, and then I forgot them all, because it was a long time ago. So I'm only half spoiled now, which is good. Oh, I have to go under there? Okay. So then I have to go that way. Gotta go up. I'll save, fill up my map. and then go right. Right? Right. Got your booty. Oh my god. I'm so easily entertained. Am I going the right way? How do I get to the... I think I'm going up too high. Hold on. Yeah, no, this is not the right way. Alright. Oh, I know. I was down there. Duh. Sorry. I remember what I'm doing. It was this way. This is where it came in. It's such a it is a satisfying thumping sound. I want my butt to sound like a bongo. Mine sounds like a sad pancake. It's like... It's really depressing. Current employer is fucking it all up. Did you have other companies looking to pick up the pieces? AK steal clients in you? Get stolen. Get stolen like a dirty something. And then get paid more. And get a better job. I'm rooting for you. I'm sorry if that came out really weird. Alright. Did everyone have a New Year's goal, by the way? New Year's resolution? I didn't tell everyone what mine. No, my stream's fine. I haven't dropped any frames. My KBS is fine. Try reloading. Might fix whatever it is. Yeah, okay. It is the new year. My new year goal was to legitimately start working out right after my birthday, which is the 17th. So 18th and onward, I am working out. I'm getting in shape and I'm gonna get buff. If I can't get thin and pretty, I'll just get big and scary and buff. Alright. We got blue stuff. Alright, we got all that, so we gotta go down this and that way. You saw 2020, thought next year can't come, so... Your New Year's goal is to stop deflecting when you get complimented. You guys are gonna argue with me and saying I do this anyway. I do really try to stop deflecting. Sometimes I feel like the compliment is so ridiculous that I have to be like, well, actually, thank you, you're wrong, but I appreciate it. I'm trying not to do that too, because it's rude. Oh, you bitch, I was thinking. Yeah, I just gotta go down. This way? No, wait, what was over here? Oh! Skank. Hi, yes, you're here for scary... Big scary buff mag, thank you! Give it a few months. I gotta... Oh, I've been this way. Alright. You are... skink butts. I actually have to start working out. My back's all healed up more or less, so... People to compliment you for stuff in the past and just said, I know. I mean... I mean, that's a little egotistical, but also it's sassy and I like it. If you compliment me on something I actually think I agree with, I'll just say thank you, usually. Unless I disagree so hard with it that I just have to say thank you and just leave it at that. So it's really one or the other. So you're not a fan of hyperbolic compliments? I'm okay. Exaggeration's fun and ridiculous, but sometimes if you do it too much, then I will secretly start thinking like, oh, they're just being an ass. They're just trying to be mean to me. Oh, I can't go this way. That's right. Sorry. That's a no-no zone. So you get that? Yeah. Any sculpting projects planned for the future. So for sculpting, I finished the OC that I had to work on. I did Tiny Greed. I have to do Tiny Edward and Tiny Roy. Those I'm gonna be doing. I'm trying to finish painting Belches. So, oh. There you go. So the Belches, I'm trying to finish painting these dudes. And then I probably in like a week or two will open up for commissions for the people on my wait list, see if anyone wants that. And we'll see. We'll see what I get from that. And if I don't get anything, I'll just make more stuff for my shop. I was saying earlier that I wanted Hollow Knight to be a personal project at some point. Okay, down that way. I think that would be nice to make myself something Hollow Knighty that lights up and is pretty. You love the things I made? Thank you! Exploding worms! Welcome. You saw my Etsy store? Okay. I appreciate that. Thank you. I really try to make things that I enjoy and that people would enjoy. It's a lot of work though. And I'm always trying to make more keycaps. I was thinking about making like a Ditto keycap. Pokemon Ditto, you know? Just as... okay. A little side thing. Okay. Happy Christmas and New Year's to you too. My favorite Pokemon? Everyone hates this. I like Pikachu, alright? I watched the cartoon. Pikachu's my favorite. I know it's like the basic bitch of Pokemon, but I like Pikachu. Alright? I like the little cute ones. Eevee. Force theme? People don't like Pikachu, just hate Joy. Everyone makes fun of me for liking Pikachu. They're like, oh, yeah, you like Pikachu. Do you like pumpkin spice and Ugg boots? I'm like, maybe? Oh my gosh, there's so many. I don't know many of the new Pokemon. I'm kind of like the Gen 1 person. Okay, this is correct. Sure I didn't miss anything. Flareon, Vileplume, Dragonite, Gengar. Yeah, Pikachu's my favorite. But if they're... this is such a cheesy thing, but if they're cute, I probably like them. I like the fake Pikachu, the, what is it, Mimikyu or whatever? You love them? Hi, Mobile! Hope everyone has a wonderful game day and chat. Thank you. How are you, the one? When people just hate on people for what they like, especially if they're popular? I get it. I don't think anyone really hates it, but they're like, oh, eh. And I'm like, eh. I like Pikachu. Alright. It is cute. But yeah, I was trying to, you know, and I like the OG starters. Squirtle, Charmander, they're adorable. Oh my gosh, this was everything, this was the way. Okay. And I have to go all the way up in that way. Oh no, I want to go this way. Okay. Alright. Have you ever played the Pokemon... I don't know how to pronounce that. Newer games? No. The ice cream Pokemon is so... I won't lie, some of the Pokemon are absolutely ridiculous. I'm waiting for, like, the TV remote control Pokemon, and... there's already Jangling Keys Pokemon, I know that one. But those just make me laugh. It's so silly. It's a petting and feeding and playing. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. No, I haven't. Right? Hello? Don't lie to me, game. I know you get a charm eventually that lets you swim in acid. I don't know where or how, but I know you do. Okay, that's the background. You like the trash Pokemon. Thank you for following Exploding Worms. You like? I like Farfetch'd. Yep. The chandelier one. Where did I? Hold on. Here. I got this a little while ago. It's like a hanging set Pokemon. So they're supposed to hang. This camera's not gonna focus. But so I got this buddy. And then I got, what is it? Mimikyu. Yeah. So it's hanging little Gashapon. I got this one. Oh shit. Do you want this mobile? If you pay shipping, I'll send it to you. I have no problem. I don't have any need for. I just got these for shits and giggles, and then I have the rest of the box. I was gonna sell them. I took the box away, so I can't grab them. There's like a Charmander or a Charizard. He's my friend. He's my friend. Yeah, I'll put him back. All right. Let me. Oh, sorry. Let me get back to. Hello. Hold on. No? I see you on the map. Probably have to open it. Ghost type? Now my main complaint about Pokemon is when I played one of them on the 3DS, not the Hawaiian tropical one, the one before that. I played in bed, and it had been a while since I played a Pokemon game, and I had to print out a sheet so I knew all the types and their strengths and their weaknesses, and I had to reference this goddamn sheet all the time because I could not remember what everything like was good or bad against. That was my complaint. I felt like a lunatic in bed just with a sheet like, okay. Champion? Oh my god. Ooh. The Gooblies in town, right? Oh, City of Tears. Okay, never mind. Yeah, some change their types too, yes. Yes, that's right. You still don't know what's good. I tried to remember, like, I was like, okay. I forgot it all already. It was like, psychic are bad against ghosts, because ghosts are scary. Or something like that. I had like weird ass rules in my head. I'm like, okay. And like, fighting can't fight ghosts because they're not real. I don't even know if that's correct, but like I remember I had all these stupid like just things I tried to remember. Balance out the gameplay. I mean that makes sense. I just and then I was like, okay, flying is, well, I don't remember if these are correct. I think it was like flying is good against bug because birds eat bugs or something stupid like that. That was you? Okay. You can't punch birds, so fighting's weak to flying. You did the same? Okay. We all have weird rules, good. You beat Cynthia a few days out of the nightmare? That's how you made your way through it? Yeah. Oh, it's right, flying's strong against bugs. Because birds eat bugs, guys. Obviously. Alright. So this... Okay, confirming. So that's how I remembered a lot of stuff. It was a lot to do with, like, psychic ghost, like dark. There were a lot of weird rules that I tried to remember with that. Because hibernate in winter? Yeah, stuff like that. Where am I? I've been here. I went here originally. Hold on. No. Flying is bad against electric because birds will get zapped out of the sky by lightning. See? Glad you guys get it. Alright. Sorry, I need to pay attention to what I'm doing a little bit. Can I make it up here? Do I have to go all the way up there to do that? I obviously went up there at some point. Oh my gosh. When did I do this? Oh, that's just putting me back over here. Alright, well, we're gonna go in a circle. Screw it. Too bad you don't get the chance to play much anymore. I'm sorry. Is there... Sorry, I'm lost in thought. Isn't there a newer Pokemon coming out soon? On the Switch? Alright, now this is just gonna be a wandering stream. You're allowed to play it in bed? Of course. I remember, so my first Pokemon game was Pokemon Blue on the Game Boy Color. Played it in high school. And I had the connecting wire so you could fight your friends, and I had an Articuno that just froze everything. Always froze. It was beautiful. Could not lose. That's so good. Alright. I know I can't go there, so I want to check something else out. It was great. There. Yours was red, your bro's blue, you always got one of each. Oh, that's cute. That was fun. I still have it. Now I want to go up and check something. Okay. Psychic in Gen 1 was way too strong. Was it? Bitch. I do need to remind myself I don't need to kill everything, although I want to. You would cheat you out in trades because you were 3 years younger and you didn't know any better? Oh, that's such bullshit. Were they busted? Alright. We're gonna go up. We're just gonna go up for a bit. Let's be older. I did finally meet my match with someone. They had was Mewtwo in the first game? I think he was, right? He had a Mewtwo, like a super leveled up Mewtwo, and my Articuno just couldn't quite match him. Yeah. Just wasn't quite there. Alright, so this is... Alright. One higher. Yeah. And I don't think I had a Mewtwo, or if I did, I didn't level him up or something. I don't remember. These are very old memories. Wait, is this the butt? Am I going to the butt? No. Okay. This is where you save. You know, I'll save real quick. Just for good measure since I'm here. Alright. I'm going back to where I wanted to go. The special attack could do a lot of damage. You had a max out psychic team. It started with Mewtwo, undefeated. When the kid was 6. Okay, you'll need a chance to use the poison move, recover, and thunder wave. Jesus. Well, I had Articuno and a dream. Oh shit! She wanted to be in here. Okay, sorry. I'm trying to read chat and play this. Stop following me. Sorry, buddy. No! Absolutely evil Dragonite with rap. I will admit, my method was pretty cheesy. But it was hilarious. Wait. Oh, Jesus. Alright. I'm going this way. I forgot it was this way. That's right. Okay. This is where we're supposed to go. Your favorite feat was your level 100 Magikarp team. A full team of 6. A whole lot of tackle and strike. That's so stupid. I love it. Oh my god. Oh, you jerk. Fine, come here. Look. Talking about Pokemon, get out of my way. Yeah, I played Blue, and then I played... I don't know, something... years later. You guys see the video where they cleared the Elite Four with level 5 Magikarp? No. That sounds ridiculous, honestly. Okay. Wow. One of these is gonna make me fall down forever and I'm gonna be upset. Wait, what? Have I been here? Oh, I have. Oops. The Tower of Love. A locked padded door. I want to go to the brothel. Ooh. I'm a nice lady. I want brothel time. No, I haven't been here. What? You're still here? You're making more rounds? Yeah. Maybe I just want to cheer him on. Like, you go, girl. Oh. Oh, okay. I haven't been. Alright. Never mind. I've been right here, and that's it. Hello? Maybe I want to go and be like, you look very lovely today, ladies. You go get them. Enjoy your orgies and stuff. Practice safe sex. Let me in! Alright, I need a key. Okay, good to know. So, I unlocked that. Beautiful. I can be encouraging. I can be that encouraging sex positive aunt in the corner. Good job. You got this. Alright. Oh, these... I'm assuming the bodies are falling because there's a coliseum up there. And, you know. Smash. Okay. Brothels are hard work. Sex work isn't easy. It's not easy and it's not safe. You should make it both easy and safe. That way we won't have incels anymore. All they have to do is make some money and they can just have the sex. Easy. There's like 20 million problems right there solved. Alright, so I went up and around, so I'm going back up. If you want my body and you sing. I'm not singing this, I'm terrible at singing. Alright. How you doing, buddy? Not good. What are you doing? What are you doing, by the way? Oh, you're punching. I just hear like.
Can they hear it?
No, no one said like anything like what's going on.
Duct tape.
It's in the other. It's in the drawer. Are you? Oh, that's your computer. Okay. Oh, he left. I'll tell him you said hi. No, okay. I am oversimplifying what an incel is so much. But I feel like if incels are like full fat milk with the cream on top, right? That's the encompassing incel. If you legalize sex work, you could like at least skim the cream off top. Like that portion of incels are gone. They're fine. And you still got all the milk and you got to deal with that later. I don't know why I brought this as a milk comparison, but that's... I know what I meant. You know, you shove off like a small percentage. Like maybe there's some incels that are just like really terrible, gross people. And then if they just have sex, they're fine. Like they're still bad people. But now they're not horny, and it's like problem solved. Now they just have to work on themselves. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Someone read themselves as an incel in Waffles game yesterday. They used some derogatory term for women that only they use, and we looked it up. What was the term? Yeah, the guy so dead you can't hear his dream. Oh, that's not the jump button. Yeah, what's the word? I need to learn this stuff so I know. Okay. I just need to know because if, say I'm modding in a chat or it happens here, it's just good to know. Boop. So if you just type the word female in my chat, a picture of Quark comes up because that's what always makes me think. I find it hilarious. Do it. Yeah, really. Alright, am I safe? Trying to reach out. Foid, which is what they call derivative of feminoid. Oh, okay, feminoid. A foid is a militant feminist who hates men, but is constantly looking for a man to mooch off of or to support her and her 8 kids. That is so much to unpack right there. Okay, Cool. Good to know. Alright, maybe it's females. Pluralize it. I don't remember if it was female or females. Hey. Sorry. Females. It reminds me of Quark from Deep Space Nine. Sorry, it was females. It never happened in chat, but I had it there as like a fun little spoiler. So if anyone comes in, they're like, females. Quark pops up. And it makes me laugh. Females are not allowed clothing. Oh, you bitch. Oh no! Yep. So that's my, I don't know. I put it in there because I thought it was hilarious. It gave me a giggle. That's basically the extent of it. You can't change your clothes? I don't know. I don't know, Steve. I think that's your own personal identification. Ooh. I just want to fall down. Quark and the Tailor were the best parts, and somehow the shapeshifter was the worst. You didn't like Odo? I only watched like 4 seasons though. Quark and what is his name? Oh my god, his name flew out of my head. The Tailor, what's his name? I love him. He's so sassy and subtly like threatening at all times. Hey, Momo. Yes, we were talking Deep Space Nine. Garrick. Yes, Garrick he is. I love him. He's so threatening and like sassy and just. I had a dream once where he was my manager and I was like, this man's gonna kill me. If I mess up, Garrick's going to kill me in my sleep, and I am. Oh no, Ram is Quark's nephew. I'm the Next Generation is my favorite. Shit. As you can see, I got so excited I blasted my soul everywhere. No, it was a dream. Like I did something wrong and he looked at me. I was like, oh my god, I'm going to die. He's going to poison me. I'm going to, oh god. Nephew. Okay, yes. This took a while, but we got up here. I was a champion. I won't die here. Sorry, buddy. You liked Enterprise? So I've only seen all of the Next Generation, which is my absolute. I love Next Generation. I've never seen the original Star Trek. I've only seen up to season 4 of Deep Space Nine. I've seen like 75% of Voyager. I think I've seen it all. I think I watched it all. I just don't remember all of it. And that's pretty much it. That's all I've ever really seen. So I can't really say anything for any of the other ones. Just like Pokemon, you're allowed to like whatever Star Trek you like. Alright, this is somewhere. Yes, I am biased, so once Worf joined, I was like, oh, Worf! Yay. But that's why if you see like my Next Generation holiday alerts, it's because I really like Next Generation a lot. Got quiet. What if you don't like Star Trek nor Pokemon? I mean, you know what? long as you're not pooping on it for everyone else, that's fine. You don't have to. No hate you that you're not a massive Trek nerd. We can jump in and learn. Oh yeah, no, like I don't gatekeep like fandoms and things people enjoy. Just enjoy it. If you want to nerd out, feel free. I always suggest people watch Star Trek Next Generation because it's my favorite. But it's definitely very dated too. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand why people might not want to watch it. Pikachu is shaped like a friend. You've never seen Star Trek? Seems overwhelmingly large. It puts you off checking it out. I mean, it's got its own story and mythos and background, but like once you get that established, it's pretty easy to watch. Like Next Generation is just about interpersonal relationships and moral choices, more or less. So, all right, is this going? Oh, okay. And Data learning to become a human. I love that trope. And Worf is violent. Hey. Okay. Let me get my map here. I knew it. Oh, I knew I'd be able to get rid of this eventually. I did it. You watch the good sign. How long is the Next Generation? Yeah, it's 7 seasons. I guess if you're not, like, if you don't know anything about Star Trek, either read a wiki so you could skip the first season, because I think the first season of the Next Generation it's so bad. I watched it once and I was like, nope, never again. Oh, thank you. I don't know if I'm ready for whatever this is. You need Pikachu? Yeah, I wish I had like a big fluffy Pikachu. You have some heckin' nerding niche interests? Like what? Star Trek is kind of something you do appreciate as an adult. Can I let you go? Aha! Another warrior finds their way to our fair coliseum. Ours is the final destination for all seeking trials of intense and deadly combat. All one has to do is place their mark upon their trial board of choice, and lo, the arena's gate will open. There's a small fee attached to each trial, but I'm sure as skilled a combat as yourself will have accrued a wealth of geo. Now, before you draw your nail and rush eagerly to battle, I'll offer one quick word of advice. There's a warrior's pit just below here, where others like yourself await their own trials. I'd strongly advise using it to rest up before placing your mark. Oh, and have no doubt, I'm a fearsome warrior myself. Don't go judging me by my size or my current constraint. The Coliseum beckons us both. I'll be back in battle soon. Make a contribution and you can enter the trial of the warrior. Okay, sure, whatever. Oh. Oh, little fool. Very well then. A new trial is open to you. I hope your performance is spectacular. Lord Fool, give me another chance. I'll prove my strength to you. Are you doing good? You're a trivia nut and can't turn down a good game show? You're a smidge of a Pokemon nut? Oh, okay. That's okay. You like to imagine what certain characters from other universes would use in their Pokemon teams if they're trainers. That's just being imaginative. And that's fun. Do I have a P.O. box? Yes, I do. I can DM it to you if you want it. Just let me know. I don't know if I want to fight stuff. I just want a save point. Oh no, shit! Fuck. I mean, you have to name me a fluffy Pikachu. No. No, you keep a fluffy Pikachu. Thank you, bro. Give me your address and I'll send you the Chandelier Pokemon. Shipping's expensive to the US. Thank you, though. How miserable to be stuck here instead of continuing my quest. I came to this kingdom to fulfill a promise, and that is what I will do. How you doing? What do you want, cur? Have you come to laugh at me as well? Fools! Did you never consider that being trapped in this cage was precisely what I intended? Yes, by all means, release me into your arena. I am Zote the Mighty, and as soon as I draw my nail, Life Ender, your laughter will turn into terror. Leave me be, you lowly worm. I must rest before my great battle. Pray we do not meet in the arena. Okay. Was this glass? Okay. Read medical knowledge books for fun? Oh, everyone cruises Wikipedia for fun. So do I. Are we all fools? Yes. Thank you. I was looking for this. This is the kind of stuff I'll do off stream, I think. Who are you? Oh, I know. I remember you. You were looking for this, right? The perfect challenge. I can already taste my victory. Hail one. You found it too then, this perfect place. I'll soon be entering the battle, just taking a moment to rest first. Though if you could truly challenge me, I'm hoping this arena presents the sort of brutal challenge I'm after. You think this shell a defensive arm? Well, I'll give you fair warning. It conceals a deadly surprise. Pray you never find out what it is. I'll crush them all. Oh, and you. You'll see me at my deadly best. Okay. What's going on? Yeah, Mighty Zote. You spilled water on the P section on accident, and it specifically was on the penis page, and your parents got so mad. So you get hyper-focused into something when you get, like, into something? I understand that. Yeah, he kind of reminds me of Vivi. Alright. What else is around here? Oh. Oh. Guys, I'm really bad at fighting in this game. I don't think anyone wants to watch me, like, fight and fail, like, 20 million times. What's over here? Hello? Just checking. You love watching people fail. Oh, good. Guess that was a rest bench. Wants to be a millionaire, jump into your thing? Okay. Alright, well, we'll tiptoe our tippy toes in here and see what happens. Alright, what am I doing? Inspect? Fight for Geo and Charm Notch. Oh, I want a Charm Notch. No, I'm not ready. We'll try once and see how bad I am. I just saved down there. Slicey, slicey. Okay, we'll try once. No, I'm not gonna ace it, but thank you. You guys have thoughts? Need help? Meow. Oh, he's dead. That's scary. Huh. Okay. Okay, your reach is really long. Buggies! More buggies. Oh, more buggies. My hands are really sweaty. Oh, bitch. You skink butt. This music's making me nervous. These guys kick my ass. Okay. I actually paid attention to it now. Spikes? Fuck. Oh, come on. Don't be rude. Oh, spikes! No shit, spikes! Right, down, yep. Okay. Shit! Oh, don't touch my toes. Hold on. How far can you throw? Oh, too far away. Come on. Excuse you. Boy, I wish I could duck. Oh. Oh, big boy mosquito, come here, baby. I'm ready to fight you, but not well, sorry. Okay, apparently I need to jump higher. Come here, skanky butt. Yay! Cheer for me! I did it! I didn't do it, okay. Girl. Oh, thank you for whoever's doing stuff.
Still good fun, but it's not.
Thanks.
Make it so. Make it so.
Thank you, Junk Brain.
Hi, can I get one large Coca, small fries, and one night of good sleep? Thanks.
Please give me a moment. I'm doing something that I kind of need to make sure I don't lose at. But thank you. I love you. Thank you. Fuck. Does this never end? Oh, I forgot these crazy bastards. Can I get one large Coke, small fry, and a good night of sleep? You're not getting any sleep, baby. I'm sorry. So much is going on. Hold on. Jesus Christ. Anyway, thank you for the 23 months. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It ends. Okay, I can handle that spoiler. Also, you can try my method. Sometimes it works. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Come here. Let me read your mind. Oh my god! Oh, I actually thought he was legitimately good. Fear not, Curry, you're dead. Oh, it's just a demented old man. Oh no! Do I have to hurt him? Baby, baby. Bro. Oh no. Oh no. I have to hurt him. Alright, it's time to die. Oh, I feel like an asshole. Oh. Oh no, I'm going to hell. Oh, he's not dead though, okay. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Go on, scurry away, lest I humiliate you further. I can't. Oh, can I talk to you for real? No, okay. He's still alive, I feel better. I got a charm notch. You should be ashamed of yourself. Go take some, like, Tums and go to bed, old man. Thanks for following up, Billy. Welcome. Oh my god. I did! I said the first try. I'm sure they're much harder challenges, because there's 3 of them. Thank you, Frizz. You gave me your strength, and I did it. Oh, I eat raw cookie dough all the time. Where did I go? Oh my god. Thank you. I feel like such a jerk. Oh my god. That's amazing and terrible. So I'm gonna wander around for half an hour. I'm gonna go down this area here because there's stuff that can be filled out in this. You see, I'm pointing the map, you can't see, but you should see what I see. Oh, I can do this. I'm gonna see what's over here because I don't remember, and I'm gonna see what's here because I don't remember. So. Oh shit. Eee. Oh. Was this a hot spring? Hi. Why does it disturb me? Cool. Hot tub stream now? Hot tub stream now. Oh. Alright. The best way to get here would be Stag? Oh, you know what? Yeah. Where am I? Peace. Yes, the hot spring heals you and then fills all my my juice soul. Yes. Is that Zoe? Are you mad? Are you here and are you shit? Oh, you're blushing with him? I thought you were my girlfriend. But that's not the only danger I had to overcome in my quest for glory. You've noticed this trophy, haven't you? A keepsake from my final triumphant battle deep in the pit below us. Yes, Lifeender claimed another victim, and the crowd erupted into ecstatic cheering. Cheering that was both loud and utterly sincere. To what do I owe my long string of triumphs and victories, you ask? As I said earlier, the key is in my personal philosophy, the 57 precepts of Zot. Particularly relevant here is the first precept, always win your battles. As for the other 56 precepts, well, I came to this kingdom to fulfill a promise, and now I have succeeded. That promise I made so long ago, a promise to myself. A promise of glory! Glory for I, Zot the Mighty! I never doubted myself, never faltered, and now I have achieved everything I desired. You didn't do shit. Great Prince, so dark, so trouble. No, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to Ladybug. You? Alright, I'll get to talk to her. Shut up. Is 32 cold? Yes. It's the freezing temp of water. Technically. It's 32 degrees. It's... I'm curious because we got a cold front. My hands dry off anyway. It's 10 degrees right now. It's 10 degrees and it's cold. It's 10 degrees and it's supposed to be... Can you load? Come on now. Got shit to do. Okay, it's not supposed to be as cold tomorrow. It's supposed to be 26 tomorrow. And Wednesday's supposed to be 54. Sure, okay. I got a clod front. You got a cold back? You're wearing chaps? I bet you are. Yeah, there's a cold front coming. Well, the cold front is here. It's cold, and I don't like it. Yeah, it's 10 degrees. Carl was cold last night because he uses like 2 blankets, 2.5. I was like, you know, if you really need to be warm, you can put on the Udi. He's like, what? I'm like, you want the Udi? And he's like, sure. He wore it to bed. He slept in it. Hidden station. It was the cutest. I was like, oh my god, you're like a little sheepy. Then he made like a little tent. Played the Switch in there. It was something else. No, it was too cold. Alright, I didn't do this. I figured this was probably something important, so that's why it's marked on the map. I was like, I can... Well, maybe my dream nail's not strong enough. I tried doing this and I couldn't, and then my dream nail is stronger, so we'll see. I can't. That's right. Oh. Oh, I didn't think that... Okay. I didn't know this was gonna be a whole thing. I don't want to fight. Look, I just... Oh my gosh, you're too strong for me. I don't want to deal with this. Goodbye. Sorry, I was just exploring. I'm not here for a fight. I'll save and prep later. Yeah, I thought maybe I was just like, oh yeah, some memories. No, it's not memories. All right. So we'll put that mark back there, and when I feel like saving and fighting, I will do that. Actually, I probably could, but I want to explore. I don't have. I'm streaming a little longer than I try to do 4-hour streams. I'm doing a little longer. So I wanna explore a little bit. So I'm gonna explore. There's no promise that I won't like do some fights off stream, just so I can get frustrated and whatnot alone. This is conifer, yeah. Yeah. I did the fountain. Yep. Okay. No. Yes. I figured out how to get the tram to work. It's something I missed on stream when I was exploring Deep Nest. And like I explored everything except like this area here. I somehow like I like got this area and I never went this way, and then I don't know why I did that. But I found it. Thank you. This way. Yes. There we go. Okay. If it's 10 degrees out, I kind of don't want to walk to the grocery store for tuna, but I'm also really hungry. Where am I? Hello? Oh, I'm down here. Okay. tram is aesthetic? It is. No. I'll suck it up. Ooh. No. Oh, come here. Come here. Oh, shit. Hold on. I'm not ready for whatever that is. Let me just... No. Alright. Screw it. Let's figure it out. Looks like honey and danger. What's my opinion on canned chicken? I've never had canned chicken. I don't really know. Bees! Okay. This is an area. Oh, the hive. This is a whole different area. No, come here. Ooh. Okay, you're a birther. Gotcha. I wanna read your mind. Or your dreams, sorry. Oh, sorry. Does one put it in a tuna sandwich? Oh, it depends on the person. I just want tuna, mayonnaise, a little bit of onion powder, and salt, and that's it. And then you get some Ruffles potato chips, and some decent, like, bread that can hold its shape. And then you just eat that. You have to chill it first, though. It's very specific to me. I'm aware. I don't like vinegary things, and I don't like vegetables, so pickles are out for me. Although I always like the smell of pickles. This buzzing's kind of ASMR-ish, so it's a little relaxing, honestly, after you get over bees. Oh, there you go, buddy. Bee breeder, come here. I kind of like that they explode into a pile of bees. There we go.
Din din.
You didn't. OJ, thank you. You didn't have to do that at all. But I really appreciate it. Thank you. No, I'm just. I'm hungry. I'm hungry, so I'm complaining about it. That's all I'm doing. I'm sorry. Thank you. I'm also sad that like I looked like it's 10 degrees out. God damn, it's cold. Like I'm used to that weather, but I still don't like it. You know what I mean? Oh shit. Okay, I want to actually. Thank you. Oh, I get some pizza. It's been a while since I've had pizza. Oh, pizza's so good. Oh, no. Oh! Zod, some rare creatures are so weak, so helpless, so inept, and so irritating that hunting them gives no pleasure. A self-proclaimed knight of no renown wields a nail he carved from shellwood named Life Ender. I'll be full. Yeah, I'll get pizza. Thank you. Sturdy fool, warrior fighting for glory in the Colosseum of Fools. Use crescent-shaped blades. Shielded fool, sharp baldur. Husk hive, cowardly husk. Its body colonized by hivelings. Hive soldier defends that. I turned on my alerts for the other thing.
For the delivery fee and tip on your pizza.
Oh no!
Get tuna some other day.
Thank you! Thank you! Oh shit, pizza! I'm pressing the wrong buttons again because I'm excited! Thank you! Yeah, I'm out here being fed. Thanks! You didn't have to do that, but thank you! Oh. Here I am just reading the crazy freaking bug lore. Because I like it. Yes, OJ is a sweet bean. Yes. A sweet bean who has more patience with phone calls than I've ever seen anyone ever have. Because goddamn. Ooh. Oh, okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, I meant to go up here. I was hoping to like fill out and maybe connect this thing. Whatever. Alright, we're checking out the hive for now. You're chilling in the hive with the boys, cracking a cold one, and whatever guys do. What do you guys do? Playing video games? Talk about boobies? Okay, this way. We ponder seductively. Oh, okay. My bad. Oh. So I have... Oh, I gotta do that. I have another charm notch. And the quick slash? Ooh, 3. One. I was counting. Stop that. 1, 2, 3. Could be slashy. 2, 3. I need this. I like these. I'll think about it. Alright. I will do you in a minute. Just clear out all the bugs. Oh, I love jumping into danger. It's great. Thanks. Clear you out. Okay, I'm using cease analog stick. See if this helps at all. Yes, true. This game is jumping into danger. Alright. Here's your tree. Oh, yeah, you just touch them. Alright, is there any stuff down here? not. Cool. Okay. Zoop. Hardened tribe. Light, familiar. Oh, sorry, I was looking at that wrong. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like this glowy ambient effect. It's kind of why I want to sculpt something like a tiny, not a full diorama, but like, you know, a little night and something kind of glowy. Ooh. Oh, oh. Big boy. You have an idea for a sculpt? Feel free to share. I figure I can't really decide until I fully, you know, play the game. Did you just blow up that platform? Oh my gosh. Excuse me. It's a big... This would be a personal sculpt. I never make anything like just for myself, you know? And because I have the thing where so I can put LEDs in a sculpt or whatever, and it's attached to a plug, I can plug it in, and it can literally be a light source, which I think is such a good idea. I hate, not hate, but I really do not like sculpts that have like a lot of light on them, and you can never ever use them because it's battery operated, you know? Oh my gosh. Because then it's just a novelty, and you never really get to like, I mean, if it's just... Scary. If it's just like a little light up eyes or something, you know, that's neat, but having the ability to plug it in means I can make it more of a light source and less of a novelty. That's all. Like I have the, like OJ, you got me the Fullmetal Alchemist statues, and I think they're great. They could actually be a really cool light source. They're on the battery, you know? I remember you telling me about that. That'd be difficult to do. It's not a bad idea though. They do have string that you can shine LEDs through so they light up. Yeah, fiber optic. Fiber optic. Oh no! Come here. No, nothing will be as difficult as Ultros. The B area and then we'll end stream. Oh, Oh, shit. Light up ultras. Wouldn't have been too much more difficult, I think. I always wanted to make, and this is super nerdy, I wanted to make the island of Zeal from Chrono Trigger, the floating island. But I always wanted to make it have like running water and then grow plants in it. I never really thought this out, but I thought it would be a cool idea. Alright, this way. Yeah, I don't know, I never planned it out or thought about it any more than like, hey, that would be neat, you know? You could have an acrylic pipe draw water up through the water so it's hidden and holds up the sculpt. It'd have to be made of something like really, really light, like foam or something, but it would be one of those fun things to try to figure out if you could manage to do. I've been watching, what's that YouTuber? It was suggested to me. North of the Border? I don't know, he does a lot of foam sculpts and dioramas of like Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild stuff. It inspired me and I was like, I want to do that, but better. Don't attack me, sorry. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. It's Photoshop though, because you'd still be able to see like some form of, well, unless it's in the mouth. Yeah, okay, that's cool. Okay. I like that. I like that idea. It's in the mouth? Yeah, okay. I was like, bullshit! And I was like, oh wait, okay, hold on. But it was like is it north of the border? Is that what he's called? I don't know. Anyway, he does foam dioramas. And they're like, oh, super sloppy, but he does them in like a week. And they still look good from like far away. Like, I'm not insulting him. I actually think it's impressive. And so I've been watching and I'm like, I'm going to steal all your techniques and then I'm going to make something. Hey, you, come on. Oh shit. Oh. Thank you for such a great stream, entertaining or relaxing for you. Keep it good. Thank you, Exploding Worms. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed my stream. Oh, I actually have to be ending soon, so hold up while I try to get giant bees to come here. Come here, bee. Over here. Aha. Boink. There we go. I have one that looks like a giant teapot pouring water into the fountain. Oh, that's kind of neat. Alright. I will have to explore the rest of this some other time. So I need to get going. Aha! Whoop. I kinda wish I had more map. Where's the... If I go down and... Alright, screw this. We're just gonna do this way. No. Come back to the bees on the next stream. So off stream, I will probably end up doing like Colosseum stuff. I'll fight the king in his dream. Or should I? That probably would have plot stuff. Yeah, you know, I know. I gotta save, so we'll update the map. Getting to the bees isn't too tough. You just take the tram, and then just. Because originally I wanted to go up here. I wanted to see if I could explore stuff here. There's still bee stuff to explore over here and here, so. Yeah, so next time I stream this game, we'll explore this shit. I'll try this off stream. I'll definitely do Colosseum stuff off stream, just because I don't like getting frustrated and fighting and getting angry. This is shadow stuff. This is where I go to the gods of the world? I did that off stream. Okay. Alright. I see. Okay, I'll save again. Cool. There we go. I'll put this in sleep mode. I need to eat too, so I'm really hungry. Thank you for streaming. Thank you for hanging out. I appreciate it. Let's look at this teapot real quick. Oh, okay, that's smart. That's clever. I like that. These are smart ideas. I probably mess them up, but... Let me see if there's anyone I want to pop you guys off on. Let's get all this loaded. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. Yep, in the stream. Here's my socials. These are actual socials and like art and stuff. So, if you're new and you haven't followed, feel free to follow so you know when I'm streaming. Oh, the Final Fantasy Fiesta is going on again. Just plop you off over there. That should work. Let me load this real quick. Oh, I'm not a sub. I don't have a. Okay, awesome. I probably won't stream tomorrow, but there's like a 25% chance I might. If I do, it'll be more Hollow Knight. If not, I will. Yeah, I'm ending. I will be back on Tuesday for art. Whatever art I'm doing, and then we'll figure out the rest of the week. It'll be Hollow Knight. What? You gonna fart? Are you just looking at me? You're definitely gonna fart. Oh. Okay.
Oh, I fart.
Anyway, alright. Let me copy this. That's not how you spell the word raid. There we go. Yes, it's Mr. Crow. Yes, it is. Fart? I'm sorry. If you ever hear farting noises, it's him. You just...
No, that's her.
No, they like reverb in that. And
Yep, that's all her.
That's not me. That's you. You just one time. What do you call it? The Frankenfart? You just walk and fart at the same time. It's goddamn. It's amazing. Also, Mobile says hello.
Hello, Mobile.
Okay. Anyway, enough rambling. I'm gonna shove you guys off onto BGG. He's playing Final Fantasy X. He's trying to do penance. As with my stream, his stream is no backseating, no help. Don't do it. We all get cranky about it. All right. And yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you for hanging out. What?
Give it now. Finish for you.
I'm
put it over here for you.
Okay, anyway, I'm sorry guys. You have a good weekend and I'll see you later, okay? Bye.